So today we're gonna read A to Z Mysteries edition, Super Edition 2, Mayflower Treasure Hunt by Ron Roy. Before we read Detective Camp. Detective Camp ended with Chapter 10. Who was the thief who tried to steal Grandma Moses' painting? It was Mademoiselle Musset, who actually was Made. Now let's read Chapter 1. Josh peered inside the deep, dark oven. Wow, he said, backing away. It smelled like bacon in there. A tall man standing next to Josh laughed. Hey, son, we roasted a pig for the tourists this past Sunday. The man wore baggy pants, a navy blue shirt with a right ruffled collar and boots. He had dark curly hair and a thick beard. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose were inside the cookroom on board on the Mayflower 2 in Plymouth, Massachusetts. This ship was a replica of the original Mayflower, which brought English passengers to Massachusetts in 1620. The kids' families had decided to have this year's Thanksgiving meal here in the town where the first Mayflower passengers had landed. Dink's mother had driven the three kids to the historic town. Everyone else would arrive tomorrow, the day before Thanksgiving. Dink's mother was spending the day with an old college friend who lived a few miles away, so the kids were on their own until she got back at 5 o'clock. Ruth Rose had bought a guidebook. Inside were pictures and information about the Mayflower and other sites in Plymouth. She turned to a page that showed an inside view of the Mayflower. Is this where the Mayflower passengers did all the cooking? She asked. Most of the meals were prepared here in the galley by the boat's cook, lassie, the man said, but a few of the women brought their own small iron stove. They lit them on deck to cook stew or soup or porridge for their children. A few other tourists were exploring the boat. Workers dressed the way the pilgrims had dressed were stationed around the decks to explain things to the visitors. In fact, the workers were all actors, pretending they had just arrived aboard the real Mayflower. They could even speak the way the original passengers spoke. Dink looked around the small, dark galley or kitchen. He was amazed that food over 100 people was cooked in this tiny, cramped space. Of course, there was no refrigerator or stove, just this dark oven made of bricks, a small work table, and a couple of crude benches. It was a mild week in late November. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose wore sweatshirts and jeans. Ruth Rose's outfit was all blue. She liked to wear clothes that matched it. Even her headband matched her sneakers. Where did the passengers sleep? Dink asked. The man pointed down a narrow set of stairs. Twin Dink. Down those stairs, the man said. Careful as you go. The kids walked down the stairs holding onto a rope that had been attached to one wall. A woman in a long purple dress stood at the bottom. She wore a tight white hat that covered her hair. She smiled at the kids. Yes, this is where we slept and lived for nearly 10 weeks. And crowded it was, she said. The room was narrow and dark. There were a few small openings high on the walls for light and fresh air. A mattress lay in one corner, and a couple of wood sleeping platforms had been attached to one of the walls. The kids checked out a row of hammocks that were strung up along one side of the space. Didn't everyone get a mattress? Asked Josh. The woman shook her head. No, a few of us had mattresses stuffed with straw, she said. Some slept right at the wood floor. I slept in a hammock. It must have been crowded, Ruth Rose said. I read there were over 100 passengers. Yes, and about 30 crows, the woman said. Twin decks here. 'Twas crowded and smelly. The rats would come around looking for food. We'd feel them all night walking over our beds. Many of us got sick and one passenger died. Dinkin noticed clay pots under some of the hammocks. He knew from his reading that these were called chander pots. There were no bathrooms in the Mayflower. Did you bring furniture and stuff with you? Dink asked. He was trying to imagine how it would be like to live in this dark room for more than 2 months. Aye, some did, but it was kept down below the hold, the woman said. She pointed to a wide opening cut into the wood deck. The dark hole was covered by a grate. It looked like the grates that cover street sewers, only bigger. Dink peered down through the grate slats. He could see a large pile of straw-filled mattresses. Everything we brought was kept there. Clothing, furniture, keepsakes, the woman went on. We were not allowed to touch our things during the crossing. Why not? Asked Ruth Rose. What if we needed more clothing? Thievery is why not, the woman said, shaking her head. The bowmaster was afraid we'd steal each other things, so the whole was off limits. Still and still, items were stolen. My friend Emma Brown had her jewelry taken. She had packed it with her belongings down there. When we reached the land and were allowed to see our possessions, dear Emma's necklace was gone. Emma cried for a week. She said it belonged to her grandmother. Did they ever find who took it? Josh asked. The woman shook her head. No, but we all think it was that Lawrence Mudgett, a crew member, she said. He was in jail in England before the crossing. Oh, he was a mean nun. Mudgett used to kick the dogs and children if they got in his way. All the passengers hated and feared him. Aye, Mudgett is the Mayflower thief. There were dogs on the Mayflower? Josh asked. Two in a few class. They helped by eating the mice and rats, the woman said. Other animals came across with us. Chickens and geese for eggs, and pigs and goats for their meat. We kept some alive, so we had livestock once we landed. More tourists were coming down the stairs, so Dink and Josh and Ruth Rose explored the rest of the boat. They talked to more workers, all dressed in costume and speaking with British accents. As the kids were leaving the ship, they were stopped by a man wearing baggy black pants and a tight-fitting black jacket. His hair was black too, showing off his ruffled white collar and white beard. Did you enjoy the tour? The man asked. I am the boatmaster, what you Americans call the ship's captain. This boat is awesome, Josh said, but I don't think I want to live on it like the pilgrims did. We were very thankful when we landed, the boatmaster said. We heard about a man called Mudgett, Dink said. Did he really steal stuff from the passengers? The man nodded. Yes, I'm afraid so, he said. Poor Emma Brown lost her jewelry. What happened to the thief? Asked Ruth Rose. The boatmaster looked over the side of the ship. He disappeared, Missy, he said. When we landed, there was a terrible windstorm. We all stayed in our quarters to wait it out. The storm finally let up, but we never saw Mudgett again. The boatmaster leaned down. Some think he escaped with the jewelry, then made his way back to England, he said. Myself, I believe he fell overboard and became a meal for sharks. And that is the end of chapter 1. Oh, poor Emma Brown. She lost her jewelry that her grandmother gave her, and I really am really upset. And sometimes is really mad at someone who thinks who stole my thing that I really, like love and like. Uh, I wish Emma Brown finds her jewelry, even though it's like more than 390 years past. I wish she finds her jewelry. For real, maybe Mudget hid it somewhere in the ship, but maybe they got lost before because Mayflower it doesn't exist now. I don't know. I can't imagine where Emma Brown's jewelry went. Look forward to chapter 2. Bye.